State at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning over at Kinnick Stadium, a sold-out Kinnick Stadium. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. A view rooftop in the Hilton Garden Inn, downtown Iowa City. Caught up with quarterback Cade McNamara. What's today? Wednesday. Yesterday at the weekly press conference. Visited about expectations for the newcomer at quarterback.
The only expectations I'm really concerned about are our own expectations, and we've been very accountable, and we feel like we want to accomplish a lot of things this year, and we have an idea of what we want this offense to look like. We know it's week one, and we're going to continue to get better as the season goes on, but we're a confident group. And I think we know that we're able to make a lot of things happen from the coaching that we've been getting. And really, we understand that we have a lot of talent as well.
Indeed, and we're looking at some of that talent on the monitors here, courtesy of KCRG 9.2. A couple new receivers in the mix. And before I talk about those young guys, let me tell you the guys that emerged last year, most notably Deontay Vines. He has looked great in the fall camp. Nico Reganey, he's healthy, so Nico is going to produce. Deontay Vines, Jacob Bostic, there's another name. Freshman from Palatine, Illinois. Jacob has flashed. Seth Anderson is one of those transfers, came in from Charleston Southern. Now here's a young guy who caught passes for 600 yards last year at Charleston Southern. I think 6-7 touchdowns for Seth on the 7 touchdowns on the year with a long of 48. So he knows where the end zone's at. The youngster, the freshman Caleb Brown from Ohio State, he didn't play a whole lot for the Buckeyes. They only had 3 number 1 draft picks in that receiving corps, but Caleb was Iowa's first offer a couple years ago out of high school in the Chicagoland area at St. Rita. Went to Ohio State, and of course the Hawks were his first choice when he decided he's going to move back closer to home. So you'll like Caleb Brown. He's 5'10", a biscuit under 200 pounds, and he can carry the mail. Great speed. So that receiving corps has been significantly upgraded in my view. Cade McNamara, obviously, we hope he is healthy enough to play on Saturday. If he's not, then welcome in 6'4", 255-pound Deacon Hill, who's lost a lot of weight since he first came to Iowa City. He's a West Coast kid out of Santa Barbara and was at Wisconsin, transferred into Iowa City from the Badgers when, of course, the coaching changes occurred up in Madison with Luke Fickell. And let me tell you something about Deacon Hill. He's got an arm that will remind you of a bazooka. He can really fire it. He can deliver the mail. Big guy, a lot like Spencer Petras in terms of size. But when he plants and lets it go, the ball's gone. And I know receivers like that. The tight ends, of course, you know about Luke Lachey, all Big Ten a year ago. You're going to love Eric All, who came to Iowa City from Michigan with Cade McNamara. And this young guy, we were talking about him last year, Addison Ostrenga, who played as a pure freshman. Now he's a true sophomore out of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, 6'5", 255 pounds. He presents a big target. And that offensive line, which struggled at times last year, you can bet that Kirk and Brian are going to run a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets until they're comfortable that the offensive line as a unit. Now, they're another year older. They've got experience, so they should be better. They will be better given health. You got Logan Jones in the middle at center, Connor Colby and Nick DeYoung at the guard spots. 2 Iowa kids who have played a lot. Nick DeYoung has flashed at both tackle and guard. Connor Colby was a freshman All-American a couple years ago. Jennings Dunker, Big Jennings, one of my favorite names. Big old horse from Lena, Illinois, 6'5", Lena Winslow High School. That's over by Freeport. He's at right tackle, and Mason Richmond, who's been off and on injured a lot in the last year. Mason's out there at that prime spot at left tackle, protects that quarterback's blind side. Now, Dejon Parker, who hasn't played a lot because of injuries, they brought him in from Saginaw Valley out of Michigan. He's got all the talent in the world. 6'5", 315 pounds. Expect him to play if he's healthy. Some of the other backups, Rusty Feth. You know Rusty's going to play. He can play guard or center. Young man out of Miami, Ohio. George Barnett recruited him when George was the offensive line coach at Miami. Rusty, media day, his head was shaved, and he had a red beard down to his belly button. That's all you need to know about Rusty. Other than his name is Rusty Feth. Does that reek of offensive line tenacity and toughness? 6'3", 310 pounds, and he can play both guard and center. I asked him why Iowa. He said, well, I love Coach Barnett. He recruited me in Miami, so I made him recruit me twice. I love that line. I made him recruit me twice. And he didn't have to do a great selling job because Rusty came out and visited Iowa, and he was sold. Tyler Ellsbury, Bo Stevens. Let me tell you about another young guy, Jack Dotzler, out of Wanaque, Wisconsin. He has really come on strong. He's now in the two deeps, redshirt freshman, 6'6", 295 from the state of Wisconsin. So that offensive line is solid with a lot of talented prime beef. They just got to stay healthy, and I think good things are going to happen for that Iowa offense. We'll talk about the defense and special teams a little bit later. Let's pause 10 seconds right now for station identification. We're at View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City, the home of Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz. 10-second ID break. You're listening to Hawk Talk from Learfield.
Friday. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're back.
Hawk Talk is brought to you by Club Car Wash. Kirk will arrive shortly and will take his Club Car Wash keys to the game on what the Hawks need to do to get a victory over Utah State. That's coming up as soon as the coach arrives. We're also sponsored by Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light. Tonight's Hawk Talk is sponsored all throughout the year by Bud Light. Bud Light, a proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. In fact, you can dial up a cold one each and every week at Hudson Southside Tap here in Iowa City, your Hawkeye game day headquarters. Savor $6 house Bloody Marys. Catch the Hawkeye Radio Network post-game show right after home games at Hudson's Tap. Feel the Hawkeye spirit at Hudson's Tap on Highway 1 West in Iowa City. Just out by the airport. Go Hawkeyes. Thanks to the crew at Hudson's Tap. We'll be talking about them as the season wears on. And we're happy to welcome to the Hawkeye Radio Network Michelle Altmeyer. Michelle, well known in our community. She's got a wealth of broadcasting experience behind her. She will be our new pregame first hour host, Michelle Altmeyer, and then she will coordinate things from Hudson's following the Hawkeye game and our extended postgame show. So we'll get you all the scores. You'll hear all the postgame talk with the players, our stars of the game, obviously Coach Ferentz, both pregame and postgame. So be sure and tune in to Michelle's excellent quality coverage from Hudson's Tap and from Krause Plaza, Krause Family Plaza, on each and every game day. A reminder again, on Twitter and Facebook, you can catch us. You can send your question or comment for Coach Ferentz on Twitter/X or on Facebook. On Twitter, it's at Gary Dolphin or at Iowa_Learfield or hashtag Hawk Talk. And Facebook as well, facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks or HSP Learfield. The head coach is here. We'll take a break and come back with Kirk Ferentz and talk about Utah State and all things Hawkeye football right after this pause from View Rooftop. This is Ferentz, watch the monitor here. I found this in the closet today.
Well, it was great to hear that song again, just coming in, and I can't tell you how thrilled and honored I am here. Get my composure back a little bit. I kind of lost it in the team meeting. It's been a hectic, however many days since last Saturday night, I guess, when I learned that I was going to be involved in this, have a chance to be involved with this position, and it's just been a tremendous time for me. Really exciting, and just thrilled to be here at this point. And I think it's only fitting right now that I start by thanking some people. And I think you have to start at the beginning when you talk about thanks and tribute. I have to start with Coach Fry. He's the gentleman that brought me here back in 1981. And at that time, I promise you, I didn't know much about Iowa, other than they hadn't had many winning football teams, or hadn't had one in a long, long time. And it's just amazing how things can change in a short amount of time. But he's been just a tremendous influence in my life, I guess, and I would say anybody's life that's been associated with this program. The players, the coaches, the fans, both locally and nationwide. You just can't say enough about what he's done for Iowa football and the program that he's built over 20 years' time. And Coach, I think all of us are very, very appreciative of that. And the service that you've given is just outstanding.
Have you followed the Hawks much since the last?
Just a little bit. Yeah, you kidding me? My son, my son Brian would clobber me. Yeah, Iowa's been a big part of my life, obviously, and as I said, Coach Fry gave me my start. He gave me my break in college football, and when we left here, but we didn't leave Iowa. A big part of us is still here. I mean, Mary and I are laughing a little bit, or talking about it coming over here. That just who would have dreamt in 1981? I mean, we were just thrilled to be coming out here. It was, and I will share this with you. When I did have the opportunity to interview with Coach Fry, I told my wife about it the day before, and she said, "Iowa, geez, we're two people from Pittsburgh and from the East Coast," and I really came out here very relaxed because I wasn't that serious about probably coming. And after the day here, I just, I fell in love with the state, fell in love with everything that I saw. And Coach Fry obviously made a great impression. And I went home that night just hoping like heck I'd get the job, and sure I wouldn't. But it's funny how things work. So, 18 years later, here you are.
There it is, the introductory press conference of Coach Ferentz 25 years ago across campus. And I went with that instead of trying to bake you a cake today, because I'm no good at baking cakes 25 years. But, you look at those comments or listen to those comments that you made then, and they hold true today.
Yeah, I mean, this was never planned. None of this was, and not much of my life has been planned. So I'll go back to 81. It was just happenstance. It was a real weird time for an assistant coach to get hired. It was in June, and typically the job market's active in the winter months, and now even earlier. So it was a really strange time for an opening to occur. As I said in that interview, I knew nothing about Iowa. Had to look up where it was, and then second question is, what do you do there? I didn't know much about the football either. So other than that, they had some rough years. So. But I'll never forget the day I interviewed with Coach Fry. It was life-changing, certainly, and everybody I interfaced with that day, guys on the staff, people just in the community, everybody was just fantastic, and you just, had a feeling, never thinking it would be as good as it was, but, just had a sense about it, and fortunately it's turned out, and here we are. We're still kicking, so who the hell knows, right?
They said it would never last, this romance. Now it certainly has lasted, and will last as long as you want to coach, Kirk. Now, many of you in this room have heard me tell this story publicly at iClub outings or beyond, but for those of you who haven't heard, my favorite part of Kirk Ferentz coming from Pittsburgh, he was a grad assistant, right?
Yep.
Who was it? Jackie Sherrill?
Jackie Sherrill.
Jackie Sherrill was the head coach, and they had won national championships, and Tony Dorsett and Dan Marino and all that. Kirk flies into the Cedar Rapids airport, and Barry Alvarez picks him up at the airport, and describe that romantic moment.
Yeah, so I mean, we literally grew up probably 15 miles from each other in western Pennsylvania. And I didn't know Barry, and certainly, Barry left Burgettstown and went to Nebraska, played there, coached in the state, and then was coaching in Mason City. So Coach Fry hired him out of Mason City. They had won a state championship, and just what a small world, because I didn't know a soul out here at that point, and he's the first guy I meet.
So we had that, just had a quick, I guess, liking with each other, and just really got along great. And he really helped me with the transition when I moved out here, because Mary didn't come for a couple months after. I don't believe it. Maybe it was only a month. It seemed like a couple months. And it was easy to move because we had a one-bedroom apartment, so that wasn't a big challenge. Things got a little more complicated. No kids, all that stuff. But what a great staff, and that's one of the biggest things I remember. The entire staff stayed together for the next 7 years, so we really worked well together. Everybody just had a good chemistry, and Coach Fry really set the table. He was the one who provided the leadership for all of us, and I didn't know much about the team. When I left Pittsburgh, we were second in the country. I think we had 17 seniors in pro camps the next year from the team I left. 11 of them got drafted, 3 of them were first rounders, and so there's a little disparity in the talent. But the one thing that was really clear to me was, like, these guys were tired of losing. That was very apparent, and it panned out to be true. Just a lot of drive and determination with that football team, top to bottom.
And the rest is history. You mentioned Barry Alvarez, Dan McCarney, Bill Snyder, guys that went on to be other guys that went on to become head coaches, and those that didn't. You look at a Bill Brazier, Carl Jackson. What an incredible tree of talent Hayden put together.
And two things about that. I always just appreciate you saying Bill and Carl, because everybody talks about the guys who became head coaches, and that that's all luck and fate really sometimes. But two of the best guys I've ever worked with at any level are Carl Jackson and Bill Brazier, not only in terms of coaches, just ultimate professionals and really good mentors for all of us. And we were all kind of young, so it was really that's something I've always appreciated. And that, every staff needs guys that just are kind of the glue guys, if you would. It's like a good team. And I never thought, at least in my opinion, those guys never got the credit they deserve, because they were a huge part of making things roll and making things work. And but it was a great group of guys, and we were all thinking about the same thing. We were just trying to help the team be better. And again, Coach Fry is the one who provided the framework and also the leadership on a daily basis.
And today, if you were coming in for an interview, you'd be picked up in a limo, or a Chevy truck, or a Ford Raptor. But Barry Alvarez picked you up in
a mint green K car. Anybody remember K cars? Chrysler K car.
That's my favorite part of the whole story.
with black walls. That's before black walls were like normal, right? So
you said it was green.
It was mint green. It looked like a car your grandmother would be driving. And
a K car.
Yeah, and I'm a grandparent now, so I should watch those grandmother cracks. But
I've been looking for a K car kit ever since you told me that story, but I can't find it anywhere.
He wouldn't be caught dead in a K car, the last 35 years. So anyway,
Barry Alvarez and Kirk Ferentz going down I-380 in a mint green K car. I wish I had video of that, but that's for another day. All right. Well, congratulations, 25 years. It's so unusual in college football today, really in any job, to last 25 years. What's been your story of consistency, longevity, and success?
It's really pretty easy. It's being around good people every day and being in a good place. And those are two things that are as simple as it sounds, pretty uncommon, especially in sports. And I grew up in Pittsburgh. Steelers have had 3 coaches now since 1969. I always had 3 athletic directors. Now that just changed. Okay, so we're working on our 4th now. But Bump Elliott, in my mind, set the bar here for culture and just the way things are going to be done. That was in 1970. So just that stability and leadership, and not changing folks out every other turn or every time there's a hiccup or a bump. And that doesn't really play well in today's society. But I just I know nothing about business, but I've gotten to meet some people that are pretty successful in that field. It just seems like people that are successful understand, like, there's going to be ups and downs, there's competition, it's tough, and you work through those issues instead of like just panicking and doing stupid things, because rash decisions tend to move you backwards. It may short term be a benefit, but on the long run usually you move back about 5 spaces. So I don't know. You just don't overthink it and just try to live it day to day. But the key is being around good people every day, and I can't say enough about that.
You certainly
one is sitting to my left. I'll embarrass Rita.
Your longtime executive secretary, Rita
and Coach Fries as well. And she started work when she was 8, but she is If you want to know what's going on at Iowa football, she knows it all, and she won't tell you anything.
She's very good at keeping a secret, isn't she? She really is. Well, you and I can talk about maybe popping the lid off a couple secrets when we come back from our reminiscing here. We'll take a break, come back with modern-day Iowa football talk on Twitter, on Facebook. We'll take your questions and comments and award an authentic brand Hawk box of merch before the evening's over. Our opening night for Kirk Ferentz show from Hawk Talk and Learfield, coming to you live from View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City in the Hilton Garden Inn. Hey, if you want a behind-the-scenes experience of Saturday's game, join us on our special Behind the Mic broadcast. This unique second screen experience shows Ed Podolak and yours truly calling all of the action. Our broadcast will be live on the official Iowa Hawkeyes YouTube channel, on Twitter at Gary Dolphin, and on Facebook.com/Voice of the Hawkeyes. We're sponsored this evening by Quickstar. Hawk fans, you can drive your team to a win this season by filling up with unleaded 88 and quick rewards at any Quickstar location. Fuel up with 8 gallons or more of unleaded 88, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win great prize packages throughout the season. Thank you, Quickstar. Our friends at Quickstar, proud partner of Hawkeye football, as is U.S. Cellular, proud sponsor, and U.S. Cellular will tell you they're built for the Hawks. They're built for great interceptions and better reception, watching touchdowns instead of touch screens, and waving before streaming. After all, game day only comes once a week. U.S. Cellular, built for U.S., built for us, U.S. Cellular. A pause, and we're right back with more Hawk Talk with the coach right after this from Learfield. Talk with head coach Kirk Ferentz. Welcome back to View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City at the beautiful Hilton Garden Inn. I'm Gary Dolphin along with the head coach, 25 years strong, Kirk Ferentz, and he'll lead his Hawkeyes out the tunnel in the Swarm on Saturday. Coach, I want to get to we got a lot of Twitter and Facebook posts tonight, but fall camp started the first week in August. Fast forward, here we are, the 1st of September. Capsulize the last 30 days for us, and now you're in game week mode.
Yeah, it's really gone fast. At least for me it has. I don't know about the players if they feel that way. But, yeah, we met the night of August 1st. So it was our first time back together with this entire roster and with an asterisk next to that. But yeah, we started that evening practice the next day, August 2nd, on the field, and basically the last 4 weeks we've been going. We started class a week ago Monday, so that's a transition. We broke camp the Thursday prior to that, but 2 days are gone. Those are in the books, but it's a full day for the guys. They usually start meetings around 7:15. in the morning, and they're out of the building before 8 o'clock at night. But it's a full day for them, meetings, practice. We do walkthroughs. So it's pure football. And the team really, I thought, handled it as well as I can remember. It's really been a good group to work with. They've got good maturity. I think we're getting great leadership, and I think we're making incremental progress in all areas on the field, which is what you're hoping for. And so we kind of finished up the camp portion, if you will, last Saturday morning, and transitioned into game week this week. And yeah, I think probably every coach in America feels the same way, and every player. They're just at the point where it's just you need to get out there and play. So we're doing our best to match up against this opponent. First games are always a nightmare that way. We'll talk a little bit later about the added challenge with the portal and transferring and all that. But just in general, first games always make you a little antsy because you're never quite sure. So that's that. But the guys have thus far at least handled the week well, and that's all you can do. So at some point you got to get out there and play. And we'll know a lot more about our team here about 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. But again, like the guys, like the way they've worked, and we're eager to play, and I'm sure Utah State feels the same way.
Give us the update on Cade McNamara. He tweaked a quad muscle, 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
I know he's day-to-day. He's practicing this week. What's his status given we're only at midweek?
Yeah, we got him back on the field finally at the end of last week, just, in limited capacity, if you will. But, seems like he's doing well. He's had 2 good days of practice. So, we'll take it right up to game time. But we're expecting to play right now. And if he can't go, we'll go with Deacon, and if he can go, it's a good thing. So he's done a great job. He's been a great addition to our team. Strong personality, well-respected guy, a leader, and like any good quarterback, he's wired in. He's really a football guy. Really, is into the preparation, all those kinds of things. And based on what I've seen the last 2 days, I feel optimistic, but we'll have to see what happens, and then. We'll just play it from there.
Joe Labus, quarterback to bowl victory, not that terribly long ago. He's had some soft tissue things to deal with. How's his progress?
Yeah, that's really probably as much as anything. That's been the unfortunate thing in that Joe got injured mid-July, I guess it would have been. It was pretty significant, so it really held him out until the end of last week. So those were opportunities when Cade wasn't practicing. Deacon really took advantage of it, and Joe would have been doing the same thing. But the comment I would make about him, he's a much different player than he was December 1st last year. And that was a little bit of a scary movie when he started, because he'd been a scout team guy all season long. So he was a quick study, and Spencer Peaches really helped him get through the month. But I think playing that game and then going through spring, he's a much better player now, and he's looked good this past week. So I think if we get everybody healthy, which we have 2 out of the 3 in good shape right now, it's a pretty strong room right now. So it's just, we'll get Joe back up to snuff, keep moving him forward, and hopefully Cade continues to make progress. He's made good progress here, and whatever it's been, it'll be 3 weeks this Saturday. So. That's encouraging, and we'll just have to see what he looks like. He's cleared medically. I said that yesterday. Cade's cleared medically. It's just a matter of how effective he can be.
I get it. The fans want to see you throw the ball all over the park, throw it to the end zone.
Yeah.
But with that forecast on Saturday, I think I know you well enough to know with that stable of running backs that you have, Caleb Johnson really emerged as a freshman a year ago. LaShawn Williams, Jazz Patterson is coming on like gangbusters. With this team is in great physical shape, given who it is and what Iowa does with its strength and conditioning. I know you want to run the football, ground and pound, and take your shots down the field when they're there.
Yeah, we'll be a better team if we can play balanced football, and I think that's true of most teams, not all, but most teams. If we can run the ball effectively and throw the ball effectively, that's obviously good football for us. To try to be balanced, semi-balanced is a good thing, and every back on our roster's back, or at least the guys that played prominent last year, and all three of the guys are better players than they were a year ago, so excited about that. We've got 2 good freshmen, and Max White's done a good job, young guy from Kennedy High School in Cedar Rapids. So it's a good room. Liddell's done a really nice job bringing those guys along, and probably the biggest thing is right now we're a little bit more mature up front than we've been in a couple of years, and that's encouraging also. So hopefully we can mix it up and play effectively there, and that'd be our goal. But it's always a good thing if you can run the ball when you want to.
We talked about the receivers prior to your arrival, Kirk. At tight end, Luke Lachey, what a breakout year he had last year. He's been solid since he arrived on campus. But tell us how Eric All complements Luke and the tight end position.
Yeah, mentioned Luke. Luke's a guy that, when we recruited him 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we just saw a guy who really had a chance to grow into an outstanding player. And we've had a lot of guys, in the past that have kind of maybe fallen a little bit under the radar that have developed in, and we thought he had that potential. Good athleticism. He was 200, 205, whatever he was, and looked like he was 14. Now he looks like he's maybe 20. So at least he's just really matured and had some rough luck early medically, but the last couple of years, boy, he's been able to train, practices. He's outstanding, just everything about him. And I thought last year when Sam went out, he really just kind of ascended. So he's playing with confidence. Feel good about him. And then you lose a guy like Sam Laporta, one of the best tight ends in the country, and certainly one of our best players. To get Eric, that was a bonus. That just was kind of something we didn't anticipate, and we're thrilled he's with us. He's a great young guy. Practices really hard, and he's got talent. So I think we got a good combo there. And then Addison Estranga's in his second year. He did a good job last year. And Steve Stilianos, I mentioned yesterday, is started showing real progress in the spring, and then he's had a really good August. So I think we have 4 guys that we feel totally comfortable with in there in the game. Stilianos is a guy who came from a lower level school, just like Van Valkenburg a couple of years ago. And
Lafayette.
Yeah, it took Zach 2 years to, his second year. Boy, he really was a different player than his first year. And I think Steve's got that type of potential. So we're really, really excited about the group as a whole.
Great to hear. And they will complement that offensive line, which we know will be better, as we mentioned earlier before Kirk stopped by. All right, when we come back, we'll take a break here. We'll go to Twitter and your Facebook posts. We're going to pick one from the group that will win a nice gift box of merch from Authentic Brand. All season long, our broadcast team exudes style with Authentic Brand attire. It's the brand we trust for premium game day looks and everyday styles. Whether you're in search of top-notch company-branded merchandise or apparel that proudly showcases your Hawkeye pride, ask your local retailer or supplier for Authentic Brand by name. It's time to make the switch. A great Iowa company in Perry. Thank you, Authentic Brand, for supporting the Hawks. And throughout the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hard-working values that are uniquely Iowan. On behalf of Iowa's corn farmers, we salute all athletes for their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field. Just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. Follow Iowa Corn on Facebook and learn how corn grows Iowa. We're at the View Rooftop, the home of Hawk Talk, with Kirk Ferentz from Learfield. Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz. We're at View Rooftop. Beautiful night in Johnson County in Iowa City. Kirk, don't you? I just love it when school's back in session. Everybody's alive. People are walking all over the place, especially with this kind of weather.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, that's for sure. And seems like the time was a little quieter this year in the summertime, but yeah, there's a lot of activity going on, and yeah, that's a good thing.
And we talk about the beautiful weather, but our Hawk fans down in the Florida Gulf Coast getting walloped again by Hurricane Idalia tonight, which has now moved out over Georgia and the Carolinas. But we think about them and wish them all the best, as well as since this is our first show, our friends out in Maui and Lahaina and the great state of Hawaii, including Don Nelson, who lives in Maui. What a terrible tragedy with the wildfires out there a few weeks ago. Bobby and I have been out there to the Maui Classic and called that basketball tournament out there. It's one of the more gorgeous places anywhere on earth. But we think of our Iowa natives and wish them all the best.
Yeah, I just can't even imagine.
Oh, man.
I can't imagine.
Indeed. Let's go to Twitter, Coach. Mike, what are your top 3 attributes? I'm sure you have more, but give us a couple when looking at an offensive lineman in the recruiting process.
Yeah, there's a couple things. Movement is important. We tend to, not 40 times. It's a big thing at the combine and all that. But the ability to move, to bend, be able to stop and start, short area, that type of thing. Not so much all-out sprinting. Ability to, I mentioned bending, the ability to get leverage on a guy. Some guys are better at that than others. And probably as much as anything, it's just the temperament and aggressiveness, and that it's true at every position, or at least most positions, maybe not a kicker. But you want guys that, when you watch film, you just feel like, or you watch them play another sport, you just feel like they really enjoy the competition and really, like playing. And some guys just, kind of exude that. Some guys show more of it than others. And, we just tend to do better with guys that maybe are a little bit more aggressive. We're not hung up on how much a guy weighs necessarily. We have a great strength and conditioning program, and confident if a guy's got work ethic, he'll get there as long as he's got a decent frame. And don't get too caught up in size, either the height part of it. Oh, there's certain requisites, but you don't want to turn down a good player because he's not 6'4", and some people make that mistake. So it's a mixed bag. But yeah, I think just, general feeling you get watching a guy play, his demeanor and his temperament, and does he really seem to enjoy the competition.
Thank you, Mike, on Twitter. Let's jump over to Facebook. Eugene is dialing in or checking in. Coach Cade was voted team captain, or one of the team captains. What does that say about how the other players respect his leadership?
Yeah, I think that really happened in short order, and so it's that's something we saw. We got to witness it 2 years ago live and in person. We played against them in Indianapolis. So, not having any idea this was going to materialize a year later, 11 plus months later, but I just had great respect for him as a football player. Typically if you're a quarterback of a championship level team, you're doing something right. And then, when we got to meet Cade, we all had that feeling, we being the coaches. He came on campus. I think most of our players kind of embraced that. And then more importantly, when he got here to be here in January, it didn't take long at all. So I think he's really earned everyone's respect in short time. He came with a resume, and that's a little different than coming out of high school maybe. He'd done it at the college level and done it very successfully. Again, we got to witness it. So I had a little bit of a head start there, but most importantly, it's just what he's done over the 9 months he's been on campus now. He's been fantastic. He's totally team-oriented. He's just a guy who works hard. He's driven, and it's just what you hope for in a quarterback. So we're really excited he's here, and I'm not surprised that he's voted captain. I will say this: our player council votes on the captains. We have 15 guys, and it was really close. I mean, there's probably it was close to being 7 guys that could just like vote here or vote there. So I think that's a good sign.
Good time to bring up Dan's question or comment on Twitter. You mentioned Spencer Petras earlier, Coach. Spencer has a unique perspective of the Iowa football program. How has Spencer been a value to Cade and Deacon to understand the Iowa offense and the Iowa City vibe?
Yeah, first of all, I've got the utmost respect for Spencer. It was a rough 2 years for him, and noise and social media, all that stuff that I encourage our guys not to pay attention to. But I just thought he handled himself with real class, and so I can't say enough about him. Real tough competitor. I think people forget, he was pretty successful 3 years ago. We had a little more support for him up front. We had a little more support outside, and had some pretty good running backs too. So, every position is dependent on another. That's why it's a team game. But I think he handled things really well. Tremendous young guy. He's highly intelligent. I mentioned he really, basically, I don't want to say carried Joe, but he really was critical in Joe's development in December and getting him to the bowl game and having him play well. And he's done the same with Cade and with Deacon too. Come in here, learn a new language, all those things that you have to as a new player. And Spencer's been unbelievably good, and just a very unselfish guy, very intelligent, knows the system, and he's really been a benefit. And in the meantime, right now, we're just hoping he can get healed and get that shoulder back. But it was a varsity injury. It's really unfortunate.
I know nothing about coaching, but watching him in practice, there's a coaching position for him out there if he wants to coach.
Yeah, my guess is if that's what he ends up wanting to do, he's going to have a good opportunity. He's a tremendous young guy.
One more quick one here, Kirk, before we take a break. Carol on Facebook, if it's 90 degrees as forecasted on Saturday, how hot will it be on the field?
Yeah, it'll be hot. We only had one. The kids' day was the first day we were out like in sunlight. It hasn't been that hot. Like the 2 weeks prior to that, it was really pretty mild. And we practiced early in the morning, so we haven't had the blazing heat. Obviously, after that, it got really hot everywhere, and there were a couple days where it was hot at 6 in the morning. So, yeah, we've had some work on that. I think our guys are in good condition. But all that being said, if it's in the 90s, it'll be whatever you add because of turf. It's not
probably
like
110, a little over 100.
Whatever, and but the air moves in Kinnick, and both teams, it's like snow or it's like rain. Both teams are playing on the same field, same conditions, so it's all relative.
Well, the air will be moving Saturday. 70,000 fans will be
that'll help.
belching out their support of the Iowa Hawkeye football program. I know we haven't talked about defense yet. We'll talk about defense next on Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz at View Rooftop from Learfield. With Coach Ferentz, Gary Dolphin. Hey, thanks for joining in tonight at View Rooftop, high atop the Hilton Garden Inn, downtown Iowa City. Before we get to our Club Car Wash keys to the game, Luke just checked in on Facebook. Kirk, in your opinion, what's been the most memorable season out of the now 25 that you've spent at Iowa?
You got to consider I'm a coach, so I'd say the 1 in 10. That's really
the first season.
Yeah. That
okay.
We're one in 10, and it was counting, and at the same time we're building a house. So, that wasn't good.
You weren't sure it was going to work out.
That wasn't good. Yes, that wasn't good. So
worrywart. Yeah. Well, I did a story the other day. Four sub 500 seasons out of 25. That's great consistency, and I know it's taken a lot of great players to build this program, and one of them is going into the Hall of Fame this weekend. Eric Steinbach, who was a consensus All-America for you, 2002 Big Ten Offensive Lineman of the Year. He was on that ground floor, that foundation group, that wagon load of terrific players that you were able to bring in the first 4 or 5 years that got it turned to what it is today.
He really was. He was a tight end when we got here, and we were a little thin in the line. So, he was an easy target, I guess. And I remember one of the first times in the winter program watching him. I was in the bubble and watching him stretch, and he had a hard time going down and touching his toes, which, for a Division I athlete, you would think wouldn't be a big deal. But the flip side, the irony of that was he was a phenomenally athletic guy and extremely powerful. He wasn't big, but he was really powerful, wiry, really strong, and great personality. Tremendous team member, and just, what a career he had for us. And then NFL, he had a tremendous career in the NFL, just very, very successful, long. And he and his wife raising a beautiful family up in Chicagoland now, and just loving life. And those kids are keeping him really busy, so it's going to be great to have him back on campus. What a tremendous honor that is for him.
Long-time Cincinnati Bengal, great player. Yep. You mentioned Wiry. He's like 6'6", 6'7". Phenomenal talent.
Wiry compared to, you think about Gallery, who ended up being 325.
He was more a bull.
Eric played at about 270, and I remember asking him, 6-7 years into his NFL career, would he play at game day? I said, what game day weight in Cincinnati? And he said, around 265, 266. And my next question was, are they fining you? And because the NFL, they fine you if you're too heavy or too light. And they were smart. They said, as long as I play good, no problem. So he was not paying any fines, and he was doing more than playing well.
We've got some great inductees, including Eric, B.J. Armstrong, Jolette Law. We've got Brent Metcalf, Ann West. I'm going from memory here, but it's going to be a fun night at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony on Friday night.
Every one of those classes is just outstanding, but this one really seems to be stellar, and he's going to help the attendance. I think Eric says he's got about 55 family members and friends coming, so that's great. But he's just a great guy. One of my memories, besides playing awesome on the field, we had a recruit in that was there for a visit, and just remember the kid telling me on Sunday morning just how impressed he was with Eric Steinbach, and just how Eric went out of his way to make the kid feel comfortable, and it just tells you a little window into the kind of person he is.
No question. Peaches Roach, a 4-time All-American in track and field, Big Ten indoor high jump champ. Sherry Freddy was a member of the 1986 NCAA championship team, outstanding. Dan Sherman was an NCAA champion at 118 pounds. I mentioned Brent Metcalf, 2-time NCAA champion. Terry McFarland, Big Ten Player of the Year, 4-time first team honors, second team honors in 90 and 91 in field hockey. And we've got others that are going. It's a big class, like 10 people. We're going to have a great time inducting those folks on Friday night over at the Iowa River Landing at the Hyatt Regency. And we'll look forward to seeing all those. B.J. Armstrong. He could find the bottom of the net.
Yeah, pretty impressive player, that's for sure, and a great human being.
He sure is. Coach, let's go to our Club Car Wash keys to the game, presented by the official car wash of the Hawkeyes, Club Car Wash, with unlimited membership starting at just $20 a month. There's no better time to join the club. Visit clubcarwash.com and find a location nearest you. Tell us about Utah State. Coach Anderson in his third year there. They call it pace and space. They try to run a play every 8 to 10 seconds. They love to throw it all over the park with jet sweeps, and you know what you're in for anyway coming up Saturday.
Yeah, we do. It's interesting. We do and we don't. I alluded to this earlier. It's really interesting in this new modern football, if you will. They've got, I think I read 59 newcomers, which places them like sixth or something like that in the country. Obviously, Colorado's number one. But the point is they probably turned over half their roster, so a lot of unknowns. But then what we do know is they've got some really good players back. If you talk about the offense, quarterback's a really good player. Had a good year last year. I think it was 5-2, 5-3 as a starter, if you include the bowl game. Good running back coming back. They graduated one or lost one, and then the other guys been pretty successful. A really good receiver. They got a tight end who's a veteran who's hurt. And the biggest thing I think, though, you're trying to piece the personnel together, and it's a nightmare every year in first years, but especially with the transfer stuff now. So it really gets down to you playing really good fundamental football and trying to be flexible with the plans, so you can adjust it depending on what they choose to accentuate. But you mentioned Coach Anderson. He's had a tremendous career. He's very successful at Arkansas State. Came to Utah State 2 years ago. And they won 11 games, and first time I believe in school history, and that's coming off of one season. They were 1-5 during the pandemic year, so he knows how to do things. They lost their offensive coordinator, but fortunately for Coach Anderson, that's what he did. Before he became a head coach. So they've been running his offense, so that we have an idea at least what to expect there outside of any unknowns. And then the defensive coordinator was on his staff at Arkansas State too. He's new to the scene. Special teams guys been with him, and so there's a lot of DNA there at least. So it's like most first games, you try to get a feel for what the scheme's going to be, and then you try to adjust as the game goes on, and feel your way through it. But it's always a little concerning, and the bottom line is you just got to be really sound, because you got to expect everything, be prepared for everything. And I think I'll throw in there, these guys did block 3 punts last year, all by the same guy. Safety is a good player for him. He's got a new number, but he blocked 3 punts. That's pretty unusual and noteworthy. Blocked the field goal. They ran 3 fake punts. And just to tell you a little bit about how they operate. So that's of note too. So we've really got to be just really sound in each and every area.
They'll take some chances, and of course the great Torrey Taylor and Drew Stevens, the kicking game, will be aware of that. Those are Kirk's Club Car Wash keys to the game, sponsored by Club Car Wash. Unlimited membership starting at just $20 a month. We're at View Rooftop tonight. We'll be here every Wednesday night. Won't be here the week of the bye, October 25th, but we're here every Wednesday for 90 minutes with Coach. And Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz is sponsored by Wellmark. The exciting moments, the proud moments, the hard moments. Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield is here for it all as your healthcare champion, making healthcare more affordable with more choices for care and peace of mind, no matter what comes your way. Find the plan right for you at wellmark.com/touchdown. And upgrade game day with Hawkeye Village. Get game tickets, pregame extravaganza, all-you-can-eat drinks, and more. Perfect for groups or families with limited availability. Call 800-424-2957. That's 1-800-424-2957, or email groupsales@hawkeyesports.com. Join the Hawkeye excitement at Hawkeye Village. Might be the only way you can get in the stadium this year. Hawkeye Village on game day. Of course, after the game, stop in at Bump's Restaurant out at Finkbine. Bump's Restaurant at Finkbine Golf Course for just $35. Enjoy all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet, upscale tailgate favorites, and more. Sip on Bloody Marys, mimosas, and 35-plus beers. 35 beers. That is some kind of selection at Bump's Restaurant at Finkbine. Make your reservation by Friday at 11 for free game day parking just up the street from Kinnick. Bump's Restaurant at Finkbine. Reserve now, 319-335-9662. 335-9662. Let's run some video of our defense here on KCRG 9.2. The Hawkeye defense, we know, will be up to the task on Saturday. We've got about a minute left in the program. Coach, everybody wants to talk about Cooper DeJean, and rightly so. I'd rather talk about the entire secondary. You've got a good group back there led by Quinn Schulte.
Yeah, we do. We don't have maybe as much depth as we would like in the back end, but really like the way the guys have worked and see some younger guys coming along. Cooper's just been a tremendous performer, especially the last season and a half, so he's really good. Schulte's done a great job, and Xavier's playing the strong safety right now. Castro's playing the cash position. So it's just, it's a good group of guys. They're working hard, and, the whole defense has done a nice job in camp.
Well, in the middle, no Jack Campbell, but you do have this young guy, Nick Jackson, who came in from Virginia. He anchors that linebacking crew. We're familiar with Jay Higgins and Sherrar and others, but you got a good core of linebackers, and then Joe Evans and Deontay Craig up front. So a lot of familiar names, a lot of talented newcomers that have transferred in. Look forward to getting going on Saturday.
Yeah, I think all of us, we just need to get out there and play, and hopefully we'll play hard and play sound and come out with a win. But nothing for granted here, so we'll just keep working, and hopefully I'll be ready at 11:03.
Good luck, Coach. Thanks for your time. We'll talk next week, and we'll talk Saturday.